What's up, everyone? I'm DJ Hamilton, and you're tuned into the DJ Sports Show, where we give you the latest, greatest, and most exciting sports stories in the world of sports, from interviews to having people's stories heard and told. This is the DJ Sports Show. Let's get it! Good afternoon, everyone. It's DJ Hamilton. We are back with another part 2, with my guy Dylan. Armani's busy right now, so he doesn't have time to be on here for the first part you guys will listen to. Hopefully it'll get uploaded to YouTube. If not, we're just going to do the audio version because it's kind of taking too long to upload. But we're going to do a rest of our mock draft mid to late first round. I'm having some Wi-Fi issues, so if I get out of this or anything like that, that is why. Some connection issues, and hopefully that was not an issue, and we could do this smooth. How you doing, Dylan? I know you're a little tired.
I'm doing all right though, man. Yeah, I'm a little tired, but hey, I'm never tired to talk ball and about a draft class as talented as this one, and on a platform with you, my brother. You know, it's all love anytime. I'm happy to collaborate. I'm happy to work on stuff. So I'm just you know, I feel like we got a lot of valuable information to talk about, so we might as well get to it.
Give the people what they want, right?
You know what I'm saying? That's all we can do.
Yeah, I feel that. So we did a lottery yesterday, what people are gonna listen to, because we're recording this before Game 7 NBA Finals, so y'all know. I hope that's gonna be a great game tonight. But right now we got number 15. This is the team right now, one of the teams in the finals, Oklahoma City Thunder. So I have them selecting Noah Asenge from France, the forward from Ratio Farm. Professional team, 6'10", 7-foot wingspan, 18 years old. He's skinny though, 195. He has really good fluid athleticism. He moves very well. He can guard mostly 3s and 4s at the NBA level. Despite his slight frame, he's not afraid of physicality. Kind of reminds me a little bit of Chet Holmgren in that sense of how he has a slight frame, but he's not afraid to get busy and get physical down there with other people who are, have twice his size or something like that, or have more weight to them. He embraces the contact. He relishes it. And he uses his length as well. 9'3" standing reach, 7-foot wingspan. I think he could be a great defensive playmaker. He already does that pretty well. He anticipates passes well in the passing lanes. He finished with a 2.1 steal percentage in Germany's Bundesliga league. And he knows how to turn defense into offense. And I think that would be great for a Oklahoma City team to have more depth like that coming off of your bench. Like, say, J-Dub needs a breather. You have a guy in that wing who can come in and be that, play that 2, that 3 position, or even the 4, and can guard multiple guys at once. Or when Chet needs a breather, you don't have really have a drop-off. Especially once he gets stronger, that's something he'll need to work on his body, but that will come with time. He's a kid. He's 18, 19 years old. It's like a lot of these people we've mentioned. It's going to take time to fill out their bodies and continue to mature in games, but I think he's one of those guys. I think that could be a sleeper in this class. I think he could be maybe a potential all-star down the line. I even saw some mocks where he's projected to maybe even go in the top 10, maybe to Toronto at 9. Or he's a lot of teams. Some teams are getting really high on him. He's capable of taking it off the glass. He can push in transition at the rim, which is what you want to see in the modern day NBA, which makes him very intriguing, especially doing that 6'10", 6'11". And the fact that he's 18, he might not be done growing. He potentially could get to 7 feet, 7'1", once he's fully done growing. Because males don't finish growing until they're 21, so he still has time to grow into his body, maybe even get a bit taller. Yeah, man. So he's 6'10" already. It's crazy.
No,
He's a good cutter off. What do you say?
I said that was for me, man. You telling me I can't be 6'5"?
Yeah. Hey, we stopped growing at 21, like the doctors told us. Females are 18, men at 21. That's just the way it is. I wanted to be 6'6", but I only got to 6'2", 6'3". I'm fine with that though. At least I'm over 6 foot. You know what I'm saying? So I like. So yeah, he's a good cutter off the ball. Yeah. He shot 63.5% from the field on cuts, and he makes good short roll reads. He has a thin frame, like I said. That would be one of his weaknesses. He's probably gonna get pushed around a lot at the NBA level. and he needs to improve his outside shooting. He's not really a great playmaker. He doesn't really have a lot of great counter moves against defensive pressure. He'll have to improve his accuracy as a passer. He could be a bit late with his reads as a passer. But he needs to be more consistent defensively. I feel like he has some lapses sometimes, and he kind of lack anticipation as a secondary rim protector or as an outside defender. And he kind of relies on using his wingspan too much to recover at the point of attack when he gets beaten. I feel like if he gets better, like defensive fundamentals, like positioning and discipline and just knowing where to be, I think he could be a really good NBA player. I think he could be one of the steals of this class if he drops to like a mid-first round. But by comparison, he reminds me of Jaden McDaniels of the Timberwolves and Jeremy Grant. So yeah, I have him at 15.
I'm not mad at that. I got a different pick. I have a foreign prospect. I got Joan Beringer. I feel like looking at OKC right now, they could use more big man depth. It couldn't be more apparent with them not playing Hartenstein at the 5 for whatever reason. I mean, they could have closed the series out in 5 games for real. They had done that those first 2 games. So I mean, they ultimately, whatever happens to them, they're going to reap whatever they sow. And looking at the depth of that team, you know what I'm saying? It's just Hartenstein and the other Jalen Williams. But he doesn't really get a lot of minutes. So why not get another big who can, kind of up the stakes, add another competitive fire, add another bit of physical skill set from the interior, and another guy that you could put next to Chet. And looking at Joan Beringer, you know what I'm saying, he's only 18 years old. He's very raw, but I mean, if there's a team that can be patient and it's not going to impact their present timeline, it's a team like the Thunder. He's 6'8", 230 with a 7'5" wingspan. You know what I'm saying? He's been compared to guys like Nerlens Noel, Clint Capella. I see a bit of Tyson Chandler in this game, but he's very thin. He's got to get stronger, but his ability to be, as a catching, as a rim running big man, as a pick and roll, I think he's got a high ceiling with that. Everything else as far as with his offense, as far as like his post game and everything, he's got work to do on that. But if you're OKC and you're like, okay, we don't have too many needs, but we definitely could use more depth from our bigs, I think this is the type of player that they invest in. This is the type of player that they say, hey, might be able to really do something here because, we've been getting bullied on the glass this whole finals. And if we're a 68-win team getting bullied on the glass by a 50-win team, that's cause for concern. So I think they're going to address the big man position first and foremost, and I think Beringer would be exactly the type of big that would produce out in OKC.
Like that. And their teammates too, I believe, him and Senge, which is kind of funny how we both had him at going 15.
Yeah, no, that those young French guys, man, they're coming in and doing it.
Yeah, bro, watch out for France in the 2028 Olympics, man. Once those guys develop, get more experience and stronger and stuff, along with Wemby, oh man, it's gonna be scary. USA, especially when no LeBron, no Steph, and no KD. That's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be interesting. All right, 16. We got the Orlando Magic. So the Orlando Magic here, I have Cedric Coward going here at Washington State, the forward. I think he fits good with them. 6'6", 21 years old, 213 pounds, 7'2" wingspan. He has huge hands like Kawhi Leonard. Great versatility, athleticism, and scoring ability. They did just make that trade for Desmond Bane and Cole Anthony, but I feel like they can still use another wing outside of Franz Wagner. This is a guy who went from, this guy's work ethic you could never question. This guy went from unknown at a 3-3 level, starting at William Met University, and he was named the Northwest Conference Freshman of the Year. And then to potentially turn into an NBA lottery pick. He was going to transfer to Duke, and scouts were like, oh, he's a guaranteed first round pick. So he said, you know what? Instead of me risking injury, and I'm guaranteed to get that first round guaranteed contract. Let me go while my name is hot.
Mm-hmm.
While the iron strike while the iron is hot. You know what I'm saying? And
Mm-hmm.
he only played 6 games this past year. Hit a labrum tear in his shoulder, but he averaged 17.7 points, 7 rebounds, 3.7 assists, and 1.7 blocks per game. This guy is a two-way player. He does it on both ends of the court, and he's someone who I think can come in right away. Good athlete. He explodes well off 1 or 2 feet. Knockdown shooter from deep. 40% from 3-point range. He's someone who I think can really spread the floor for the Magic. That's something they've struggled with, 3-point shooting. This is a guy right here I think could be an impact player right away in that realm of the aspect of basketball. He poses as a threat to defenses. He can get his own one-on-one. He knows how to post up small defenders, and he knows how to finish the rim in one-on-one situations with ease. Good baseline scorer. He has a nice little turnaround jumper, which I really like because you don't really see as much people do that nowadays.
No.
I think he has a chance to be a really good defender at the next level. I think he could be maybe a potential if he taps in his full physical gifts and he goes to the right. I think he could be a potential all defensive type player one day. I think Cedric Coward could be that special player. I think he could be a really good high level starter at the NBA level, maybe even a fringe all star. Maybe he has that high, or if not, a very high level solid player. Like I'm really high on this kid. I think this guy's a sleeper. There's a lot of sleepers in this class that I like the talent in this class, man. It's very intriguing, very intriguing. So, he does need to improve as a playmaker. He's not really much of a playmaker, but and he does as well. Yeah, he's not really a playmaker, and yeah, that's really pretty much the only. I think the one weakness in this game, he's not really a playmaker, and he doesn't have a lot of great lateral movement. He lacks speed and his lateral movement, so maybe that can hurt him defensively. But I think that will change over time. But yeah, I just think he has a lot of skills. He's NBA ready. We'll see because he only played 6 games last year, so kind of limited sample size. But yeah, he reminds me of Mikal Bridges, OG Anunoby. I feel like those are my comparisons for him.
Not a bad comp. Not a bad comp.
Yeah.
At 16, I'm going Carter Bryant. I feel like he is the most Orlando Magic pick that they could possibly go about getting. Very
getting
athletic,
wings for Raw.
Strong defender. But the difference with him is that he's actually a good shooter. That's actually one of his best qualities is he shot 37% from the three, 46 from the field. Free throw percentage got to go up. 70% is not going to cut it. But, the versatility, what I'm saying, his ability to play defense, I think is going to be a huge asset. He averaged a block a game and a steal. And in the tournament, up that to a block and 2 steals. And I feel like as a whole, when looking at his game, he's a player that he could end up being. I think he's going to be a better pro than college player for one. And I think his ceiling could be way higher than we are even projecting him to be. He was a 5-star. He was a 5-star recruit out of high school. But right now, he compares to guys like, Trey Murphy III. That's like a super high ceiling for him. Kelly Oubre, Trevor Ariza, who I see a lot in this game, and then guys like Jeff Green, Kevin Knox, Keon Ellis. But for Orlando, who as a team that needs more, could use even more athleticism, more talent on the wings, and more 3-point shooting, I think this works. Given Desmond Bane isn't like the world's greatest defender, but you could still have 2 guys in Bane and Bryant that are able to space the floor. And I feel like he would fit. Carter Bryant's a very efficient and unselfish player, so he would fit into a team where it's like, hey, I'm not expected to be the guy. Powell's the guy. Franz is the guy. Desmond's going to be one of the guys. Even Jalen Suggs. But I don't feel like Carter Bryant would be out of place there. So that's my pick.
I like that pick. I feel like he'll fit good there too. He's a great cutter off the ball. Doesn't really need the ball in his hands. So yeah, I like that. I like that. So at 17 now we have the Minnesota Timberwolves. This is a pick from the Pistons. So they need a point guard. And Mike Conley's getting old. They can either go a point guard here or a big. I feel like either one, they either need a guard or big. However you want to put it here. But Mike Conley's getting older. He's not the same player he used to be. There's too much on Ant to have the ball handling duties and run the offense and stuff like that. I have them selecting Ben Saraf from Israel. He's Israel alien. Ratio Farm
okay.
the same team I believe as Noah Senge or something like that. He's a guard, 6'6" point guard, 18 years old, 200 pounds, 6'7" wingspan. He averaged 12.5 points per game, 4.8 assists per game, 1.3 steals, shot 41% from the field, 22% from three. That will need to improve. That's one of his weaknesses is his shooting and his jumper. But he's a jumbo-sized guard. Could play both the lead guard and the shooting guard position. He was the FIBA U18 MVP of the Eurobasket last year. He's a crafty lefty ball handler, can initiate the offense. He has an innate feel as a playmaker who can see over the top of the defense at 6'6", 6'7". And he knows how to create his own shot. He has a really good first step, skilled finisher at the rim with soft floaters or layups. And one thing I love about him, he gets active. He's a pesky defender. He's not afraid to get down in the stance and guard guys at the NBA level. And I think he could potentially guard 3 positions at the NBA level from the 1, 2, and maybe some forwards, like small forwards. He can play off the ball. He has some natural great point guard instincts. I think he'll fit well with Ant and take some of those like playmaking duties off Ant. So Ant can like kind of mainly be a scorer, which is his main natural talent to get buckets.
Yeah.
And I think that will like help him have more energy, especially on the defensive end. So that way it'll take some that playmaking duties off of him. He is a streaky shooter. We'll need to become more consistent from 3. But if he can unlock that, that'll really help his game, and it'll help him see the floor more in the NBA. He does need to get stronger. He does kind of get bumped off his spots, and I want to see him absorb contact more effectively. My comparison for him, he reminds me a little bit of Tyrese Halliburton. I think he reminds me a little bit of him, the playmaking ability. I don't know if he shoots as well as Tyrese in terms of like the pass and the playmaking, the big point guard 6'6", 6'7", around that range. And he reminds me of a poor man's Manu Ginobili. Yeah.
Poor who? Or poor man?
Yeah, my wife. Yeah, my poor man's Manu Ginobili. Poor man's Manu Ginobili. Yeah. Yeah, Wi-Fi cutting out. Oh man. Yeah, so he reminds me of like Tyrese and Manu Ginobili a little bit. Yeah, man. He can be good. He needs that jumper though. He needs to get stronger and get that jumper right. But yeah, he has a little Rondo in him too. A little bit of Rondo in him too.
I feel that. That's a good pickup for them. I don't know about him as much as I know about some of these other prospects, but what's his height?
6'6", 6'7", point guard.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Point guard or big, something like that.
So I'm gonna stay on the same. Where did I put my notes for him? Oh well. I'm gonna stay on the same type of time. I also have the Timberwolves picking a point guard because I was thinking like even if they let Rob Dillingham, they unleash him, he's more in a Lou Williams type of role than as a main distributor. But the guy that I got Minnesota taking, Igor Demon, I think that there's enough concern about his shooting ability and his lack of athleticism, which is going to cause teams to not have him as high in their scouting report as they did at the start of the year. And now having really like dissected his game. But I think that you put him in Minnesota and you put him around Ant, you put him around Jaden McDaniels, you put him around DiVincenzo, you put him around Randall, you put him around Naz Reid if they can keep him. He's going to open the floor up for them. You know what I'm saying? I see a lot of, Josh Giddey in his game. I see some Anthony Black to his game. Excuse me. I even see a little bit of like Hedo Turkoglu to his game. He's not as like efficient of a shooter. He doesn't have the shot creation ability at that caliber, but I think that could be an ultimate ceiling for him. And at pick 19 not pick 19, at pick 17, you can't complain with that. You can't complain with that. And also thinking about the way that they're building their team, they do need that floor general. So I think Ego could be their guy.
I like that. Yeah, I feel like Timberwolves, they just need a point guard. They need to get somebody. Mike Conley's on his like last legs. They got to get somebody to help Ant.
Yeah. Shout out to Mike. Mike Conley, man. He's been playing for a long time since
Yeah.
'07. Him and Al Horford are the only players left from that draft class. I remember that
Yeah,
draft
the early
class.
2000s, mid
Oh, and
2000s
KD.
classes.
And
They're getting
KD.
old.
Yeah, so there's
Yeah.
three players. KD. Dang.
Yeah.
That makes me feel old.
Time flies, man.
But
Yeah.
shout out to them. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to them for playing at a high level all these years later.
Yeah. 18 now, we got the Brooklyn Nets. This is we have the Washington Wizards, excuse me. This is picked from the Grizzlies. So Colin Murray Boyles I have here from South Carolina. That's where I have him going. He's kind of a tweener, undersized power forward, 20-year-old, 231 pounds, 7-foot wingspan. Even though he might be undersized, he has superb defensive awareness. He averaged 1.5 steals, 1.3 blocks per game. He was one of 2 players this season to average those numbers with 15 plus points per game, 2 plus steals, and a 4.0 block percentage. So this guy's an impactful player on both ends of the court. He's physical. He has great hands. He's one of the best defenders in the class. High IQ in defensive rotations. At South Carolina, he had like a plus 18.3 net rating. And he does an excellent job at executing on hard hedges in the pick and roll. And he's a versatile perimeter defender. He's someone as well as IQ for defensively. He doesn't make silly, dumb fouls. Like you see some guys in the NBA, they do like Karl Anthony Towns, for example. I don't want to, like Karl Anthony Towns is one of the best bigs in the NBA. He's a star, but sometimes some of those fouls, I'm just like, this boneheaded fouls. This guy, he doesn't really do those type of things. He averaged 3.3 fouls per game per 40 minutes, which is pretty good when you're playing that many minutes. Offensively, he uses like ins and outs to get into the rim. He's kind of too left-hand dominant. I want to see he needs to improve his weak offhand, but he does have a precise use of using like different jab steps and spin moves to get to the basket. He was 71% as a cutter, 50% as a roll man, pick and roll. He is kind of a tweener though. I don't know if he really has a true position at the NBA level. That's something I think he needs to improve his shooting. I mean, he's not really much of an outside shooter. He shot 0% from 3 in 2023-24. I don't even think he didn't make any threes or attempt any. And he shot just 26.5% last year. So that's something I'll need to improve, especially if you're being an undersized 4 in the modern NBA. You got to be able to shoot, or you're not really going to see the court. Maybe that's like a short of Clint Capella or something, but that's something he'll have to really improve. He reminds me a little bit of poor man's Julius Randle or Thaddeus Young, and some Draymond Green in his game for me. Those are my comparisons for him.
I like that pickup for them, and I think that they would benefit from having someone in their front court that can create their own shot and be a good complement next to Sarr. So I like that pick. But I'm going to go a different direction. Now, I know that they're ready.
That was a hard butt.
I know that they've got Bilal
the Wizards,
Koulibaly, and I know they've got Keyshawn George. But I got them picking Nick Clifford. I think that he as a player is, coming out of Colorado State, one of the oldest players, if not the oldest player in the entire draft, which is crazy because he's only 23, but the time is flying. But I feel like he as a player has some of the most transmittable skills as a defender, as a passer, and also like his scoring ability he showed this past year. I think that he's a guy that is good to just come ready from day one. And a team like Washington, they're rebuilding, but they need guys who have that type of energy, guys who are ready to jump into the league and go off, go ham, and build from that. Because if you don't, then you're setting yourself up for a position where the players that you bring in are all going to be, developing together. But if you don't have anyone who can just step right in, then that's a problem. And I think Nick Clifford could end up outperforming what's been expected of him. He's been compared to guys like Chris Middleton, Desmond Bane, Josh Hart. But if he doesn't even step or approach to that level, then yeah, okay, you're gonna feel like. But at least we got Bilal. At least we've got. What's his name? Keyshawn George. At least we got Bub Carrington. You know what I'm saying? So it's not hope is not all lost, but I feel like it fits them better to get a player who's ready right now. And I think that's the thing I get the most from watching the
Mm, nice. So now at 19, now this is where we have the Brooklyn Nets. This pick's from the Milwaukee Bucks. So they wish they could have this pick. I have this will have Joan Behringer. Yeah, how do you say his name? Joan or Juan Behringer from France. Keiki Sedavita, center. 7 foot, 18 years old, 7'5" wingspan, 234 pounds. One of the best shot blockers in his class. Really athletic. He has a lot of upside to his game. He has a lot of raw talent, freakish measurements. I think this guy could be maybe he has a little Rudy Gobert-ish to his game. He has a great, powerful leaper. He averaged 1.5 blocks per game. He has fluid hips, quick feet. He moves very well, sprints out well in transition. He's very young though. He doesn't have a lot of experience playing at like a high level and stuff of that nature. So it'll take some time for him to develop. His offensive ability as a shot creator is kind of limited. Other than that, he mostly gets a shot off dump offs, lobs, and things of that nature. But he is a quick learner, and he has demonstrated a lot of rapid progress. My comparisons for him are like Jalen Duren, Rudy Gobert,
team.
and like Jerko Sims as well.
Okay.
So yeah, those are some of my comparisons for him. And the Nets need a big man because outside of Nick Claxton, who they might trade, they don't really have a lot of height on that roster. They can use somebody who's 7. They can use a footer. You know what I'm saying? They could, yeah.
Well, I like that though, and I do think that is a strong possibility. But I went with the Frenchman that you talked about earlier, but Noah Asenge. I think that Brooklyn, with the likelihood of losing Claxton, they're going to need another 4. But they're going to need another 4 that they're going to need a 4 that has a bit more to his bag, a bit more tools, a bit more versatile ability. And looking at his game, looking at the way that he's able to create his own shot, play defense, his ability to he's shown improvement. Obviously, there still is work that he's got to do, but it's not like, okay, there's no foundation to build from. He's got to get stronger, but he plays defense very well. He can pass the ball well, and I think that with his athleticism and his wingspan, he's got a 7'1" wingspan. He's 6'9". I think there's a lot of great potential. I've seen some scouts compare him to, as you mentioned, guys like Pascal. I see some Nick Batum to his game. I see some. I hate what I gotta see.
God bless you.
Oh man, don't you hate when you gotta you can feel it, but it's like
it doesn't come. Yeah.
But yeah, I see some. Not when he was in Orlando, but Denver. I see some Denver Aaron Gordon to his game in the sense of being a very versatile forward, a 3 and a 4 that you can slide, you can slide at multiple spots. A guy that doesn't need the ball a ton, but when given the ball and when put in a position either to take it to the paint, he's gonna thrive. He's going to make the most of his opportunities. So
it was actually him and Seraph were teammates. Yeah, so Seraph set him up perfectly. That point guard.
Yeah,
it was not him and Behringer. It was Seraph and Senge. Yeah,
I think him having that ability is going to be really valuable. I mean, right now, I forgot to bring up with Brooklyn, but they've got a few guys that I think are going to be on that roster for the long term. Cam Thomas is definitely one of them. I think a guy like Noah Clowney could definitely be on that roster long term. Dariq Whitehead, maybe even Trendon Watford. But if they lose Claxton, who's been there a little longer than anybody else on that team, then why not get a player who has like some similar aspects to his game, but is more fluid of a player, is a little bit more versatile, can create his own shot. You know, so I'm going Noah Osenge for them.
I know what you mean. At number 20, we got the team down in South Beach, man, the Miami Heat. You know, the nightlife. You know what I'm saying? I got them selecting a mature brother here, one of the oldest players in the class. He's a national champion. I got Walter Clayton Jr. from Florida, the guard, number 20. Averaged over 18 per game last season. 4.2 assists per game, 44% from the field, 38% from three. This guy was the best player on the national winning team, so he knows what it takes to win. Going to a culture like Miami, they want guys who know how to win, who are willing to play a hard sacrifice for the team. He fits that perfectly. He's a sniper from deep. He can create his own shot off the dribble, which when you have a team where the best players are Bam and Tyler Hero, they're not really they're good playmakers. They're good passers, but Tyler Hero is more naturally known for scoring. He also wants somebody who can create his own shot and take pressure off Tyler Hero, get his own basket, especially when you have a guy named Terry Rozier who hasn't been exactly what you expected since he's come over there. He hasn't been as efficient or as impactful. You might want to look to trade him. Walter Clayton Jr. could come in and fill that role right away, I feel like. He has a lot of 3-4 years in college, so he's seasoned, he's polished. He come in immediately, make an impact. He's the only player in the history of the Florida Gator program to ever average 18-plus points and shoot 35% or better from three on 7 or more attempts per game. When I saw that on StatHead, I was like, wow, this guy, he is a true marksman. He can get a shot off quickly with a sliver of space. I forgot what shot it was, but he had this crazy fadeaway three going to the right, leaning out of bounds in the final four of the national championship game. I forgot which game it was. And then the fact that he made it, and it was a tough shot. I was like, well, he made it look so easy. I was like, is that Steph? I was like, let me chill. I was like, wow. He does. I don't think he'll be a shooting guard because he's only 6'2", so he's too short to be a shooting guard. He'll have to be like a point. But it's going to hurt him defensively if he does have to guard twos at the NBA level, and he doesn't have long arms either to make up for his lack of height. But as a senior, he did have a total of 46 steals, 20 blocks. He does have solid quickness and have good mobility and a good vertical jump. He knows how to make simple reads and out of ball screens. He had 23 assist percentage. He's the ideal NBA combo guard you see nowadays. So my comps for him, Randolph Childress from way back in the day, and Mahmoud Rauf. Yeah. A little short guard, 6'2", little handle, could shoot. Yeah.
You comparing him to Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf?
With the shot, quick release, and he has a little solid handle.
You know who?
I don't know about the athleticism.
I'm about to say, who got compared to him coming up out of the draft back what's the math? 16 years ago.
Steph.
You're on it. There you go. Yep. Steph got compared to him. So I mean, hey.
Steph just took it to a whole nother level.
He did. That's lofty, but hey, if I do believe, I think that people are sleeping on 4-year college players. I don't like that. Yeah. I feel like there's nothing wrong with being a guy that's polished, that you know yourself as a man, one, which is I don't care what no one says. Having that maturity, having that experience, it goes a long way. But then two, you have the pedigree of playing for a winning program, being a part of a national championship. You can't take that away from someone. That holds a tremendous amount of weight because it influences their outlook, and they know what it takes to win. Obviously it's not the NBA, but they still on a level that's not too far. So I think that's something that, looking forward, I think Walter Clayton will do really well in Miami. I think he's a very much
mature brother down there in Miami. You need a mature brother in Miami. That's why I said, let me go with a senior. Yeah, let me go with something.
But
junior or senior.
I'm going another direction. I'm going explosiveness because I feel like right now, Miami is trying to figure out, okay, what do we have for our future? Who is someone that we see as being a part of our long term? And that's where I gotta throw in Nolan Traore. Like, I feel like as a player, his ceiling is one of the highest in this class. Now the raw numbers, shooting 39% from the field, 30 from three, 71 from the free throw line. Those numbers are rough, but the other numbers, 12 a game, 2 boards, 5 assists, a steal, a block, 18 points in the Nike Hoop Summit versus Cooper Flagg, Ace Bailey, and Dylan Harper. 45 points versus Barcelona, which was an NGT Finals scoring record. And he's overall the fastest player in the entire class. And, you said yesterday has probably the nicest layup package and set of handles. And I agree. And he's been playing a lot better these last few months, shooting 40, around 40% from three and 80 from the line. And I feel like with Pat Riley, he's got to take a step back and look at the roster that they've got. And that Heat team is going to be
my friend Joseph said the same thing. He's a big Heat fan.
They're perpetually going to be stuck in that middle tier and not moving forward. So it's like you got to be able to moving forth have more to your team besides Bam and Tyler Hero. I'm not believing in them to become, I truly, like, I say this with no diss to either of them. I don't think that Miami has their number one type of player on their roster yet. And I think that they've got young talent there. I'm really excited to see what a guy like Khalil Ware could develop into, because he had a really good rookie year for them. So I think a guard like Nolan would be perfect in the pick and roll, and just as a guy that can attack downhill, that's got handles, that can create his own shot, and Spoelstra can help him, become a bit more refined, a bit more, a little less chaotic. But I mean, anytime you're a guy who's gotten comparisons to a taller Tony Parker, shades of Kyrie, DeJounte Murray, and then like on the lower end, guys like Scoot, Lonzo, and even Killian Hayes. That's the ultimate worst ceiling. That's the worst floor. But that's boom or bust. But if I'm Miami, you got to take that opportunity, because your franchise is not going anywhere at this point. You're going to be stuck in that at best 4 to 5 seed and perennial.
The worst place to be in the NBA is that middle tier where you're not bad enough to get like a top potential franchise talent, all-star superstar to build your team for the next decade plus, or contending for a title. The worst place is the middle ground. You don't want to be stuck in the middle.
So right now, Miami is they're in that middle ground, and they need to try to hit a home run, and sometimes it requires you to take a big risk. So this might be a big risk for them, but I think they need to do it. There's just nothing else to it.
Hey, that was a bar right there, bro.
Yeah, man,
he didn't even realize it. He's like, something light. He's like, he's like, I could do even better than that, but yeah, he said something like
a little walk in the park. Yeah, nothing crazy, nothing too out of bounds.
Yeah. All right. Next, so many things here at once. 21. We have the Utah Jazz here. This is a pick from the Timberwolves. All right, so I have to go with Liam McNeely from UConn, the forward. 6'8", 19 years old, 6'8" wingspan, average over 14.5 points per game, 6 rebounds, 2.3 assists, shot 38% from the field, 31% from three. He does need to improve his efficiency. Those are some ugly shooting numbers. But for some reason, a lot of people are higher on his three-point shooting. I think he has good mechanics on his shot. I think he just needs to get more consistent, get more reps. He has really high IQ for the game. He moves well without the ball in his hands. He did have a lot of ups and downs playing for Dan Hurley last season. As a spot-up shooter, he's very effective, 56% effective field goal rate as a spot-up shooter last year. He has a strong NBA-ready body. I think he'll be able to come in right away and play good rotational minutes coming off the bench. He's a smooth shooter, soft release, good mechanics on his jumper. He does need to improve his efficiency and consistency. He does have a tendency sometimes. He kind of needs to slow down, turns the ball over too much. He had 12% turnover percentage last year. That's unusual, especially for someone who doesn't have the ball in his hands a lot, and as a primary ball handler. Especially he needs to improve his ball handling skills. When you turn the ball over that much, and you're like a third or fourth option and as the primary ball as the fourth option ball handling the basketball and run the offense, that's kind of a concern. But he is a connective tissue passer who can come off screens, dump offs for an open teammate in the paint. He's not a spectacular athlete, but he does have excellent speed, good strength and quickness, good natural feel for the game. He does a good job boxing out, grabbing rebounds. He plays hard, moves his feet well defensively. I think he should be someone who could be able to guard the 2 through the 4 at the next level. I don't think he's quick enough to guard point guards. I don't think he's tall enough to guard centers. But I think he has the strength and stuff like that to be able to guard 4s and 3s. I think definitely. We'll see. The 2s, it depends on which shooting guards, because some shooting guards are too quick for him. But he reminds me of Corey Kispert and Thunder Dan from back in the day, Dan Majerle, or I forgot how to say his last name.
Dan Marley. Yeah, Dan Marley.
Dan Marley. Yeah, I haven't heard his last name in a long time, so I kind of forgot how to pronounce it. Dan Marley.
Oh man,
with the Suns back in the day.
Thunder Dan was a bad man.
Yeah.
That dude, definitely, in my opinion, one of the coldest white boys to hoop by far.
Yeah, he's a cool.
And he got a really.
Yeah, he was a cool dude.
He got a good restaurant in Phoenix. A really good restaurant out there. It's like called like Magic Marley's or something like that. It's really good though. I went there.
Yeah.
I went there before. I'm not bad. Carry on. I just had to. As soon as you said Dan Marley, I was like, okay. I'm not mad at that comp.
So yeah, who you got at 21?
Well, at 21, I'm going a slightly different path, but I've got Mr. Rasheer Fleming out of St. Joseph's University. Now, looking at Utah, what they lack is they lack athleticism in the wings and the front court, in my opinion. They've got size, but we also don't know what's going to happen with guys like Walker Kessler and with John Collins and with Lauri Markkanen. So why not get a guy who has size, who has athleticism, and can play defense really well? Because otherwise, right, if they lose any of those 3 bigs, they're going to just be left with Kyle Filipowski, who's a great 3-point shooter, but you need someone who can play some defense, who's able to keep the defense honest offensively, but then also has the length and tenacity. And I liked what I saw out of Rasheer Fleming. I feel like he's a guy that, again, is a floor spacer. He hustles well. He's a very talented defender, and he's got the size and length. And I think that he's got 7'6" wingspan, 6'9". That doesn't grow on trees, and he's not necessarily a guy that's going to be a star. I don't see that. And he's not a shot. He can't really create off the dribble, but he wouldn't need to be in Utah. You know what I'm saying? They're gonna have guys like Colin Sexton, Keontae George. I don't know what's gonna happen with Jordan Clarkson, but Isaiah Collier. They're gonna have those guys be the primary ball handler. But why not get a guy on the wing who can, be versatile enough to play at the 4 or at the 3, and maybe even at the 5 if needed be. You know what I'm saying? Some comparisons that I've seen for him, guys like Brandon Bass, who I remember Brandon Bass on my Celtics. He was automatic cash money from mid-range. A guy like Larry Nance Jr. I see that to his game. I even see a little bit of oh my gosh, what's his name? I see some before he, kind of like just disappeared from the league, but I was actually very high on his potential. Not as high as Dan Gilbert, to the point where I wouldn't give up an all-star, but I see some JJ Hickson to his game as like a pick and pop type of undersized big, but you can float at different spots, and who's who's a good rim protector, good rebounder, and can space the floor. So I liked what I saw out of Rasheer Fleming, and I think that for a team like Utah that's trying to build an identity, I think he's the type of player that you bring in to bring in a physicality that they lack.
Yeah. You know what's funny? I actually met someone who went to college with him. He said, "Oh, you do sports, yo?" He said, "You have a friend?" He said, "Yo, this guy Rasheer Fleming, I'm telling you, he's really good,
Hey,
man. Went to my
hey,
college.
get it.
His
Tell him to
teams
get
are
on the
sleeping.
pod. Tell him to get on the
Hey,
pod, bro.
I met him at the
Nah,
gym like
real.
last weekend. I should be like, yo,
Oh,
I should have had you come.
he's from. Is he from? Is he from New York?
Yeah, he was the same gym, and he went to he goes to college, same college Rasheer Fleming went to. He was a freshman there last year, so he's gonna be a sophomore this year. Like, he watched him play in person. He said, "Yeah,
No,
Rasheer Fleming." He said,
I'm
"That
saying,
dude's
do you know,
tall,
do you
man."
know where Rasheer is from? Is he from New York?
Uh, Rasheer. Let me check. I never actually looked it up.
Hey man, hey man,
Rasheer Fleming.
hey, hey man, light bulb,
Rasheer
light bulb,
Fleming.
man.
He's from. It says he went to Camden High School, so he's probably from the Jersey area.
Oh, he's from Jersey. Okay,
It doesn't
all
say
right, but
where he was born.
he a tri-state kid.
Birthplace. Yeah. Yeah, he grew up in Camden. Yep, he's from Jersey. Yep. From Jersey. So Jersey kid. So yeah, shout out to Jersey native, man. South to Jersey.
Yeah.
Jersey could
So
produce some heads.
hey, I ain't gonna lie. You might have to hit your boy up and be like, hey, what's up? You know, can you get me in contact? Little food for
Yeah.
thought.
Like, yo, do you know him like that? You know people who know him? Like, yeah, let me get him on the show, get an interview
Yeah,
for his rookie season or something.
put the idea out there because he's definitely going in the first round. He's definitely going in the first round.
Yeah,
He's
first
projected
round draft pick,
anywhere
yeah.
from late lottery to in the first round. Still, that's a first round pick.
Yeah,
That's someone who's going to
he's
likely
definitely
play
first round pick.
some big. That's a guy who's going to likely play some big minutes. Yeah, no, that's actually no, that's like a dope 6 degrees of separation. You know what I'm saying? But that's what it's all about, like having those connections and being able to see, you know, who, like, you know, how things can progress on further. So, hey, man,
Yeah,
you
never
never
know.
know. You never know.
Never know. So next we got the Atlanta Hawks here. 22. This picks from the Lakers. That's where I have Asa Newell, your player, your guy from Georgia, forward, 6'10", 220. He has like a 7-foot wingspan, only 19 years old. He's a hyperactive big man, plays with tremendous energy. I feel like the Hawks could use that. He does it on both ends of the court. He's quick, agile. He could be potentially a versatile defender at the next level in the NBA. I can see him guarding potentially 3s through 5s. Average 15.4 points per game, 7 rebounds, a steal, and a block. Shot 54% from the field, 29% from 3, 75% at the charity stripe. He was the only freshman in Georgia Bulldog history to average over 15 points, 6 rebounds, a steal, and a block per game, while maintaining a true shooting percentage of 60% or better in a tough SEC conference. Ladies and gentlemen, SEC last year probably was the toughest conference in college basketball. It was competition. There was no night off. And this guy was
had the
coming up
most
doing this
amount
thing.
of top ranked teams too.
Yeah, he was doing this thing in SEC. He's a good 2-foot jumper, vertical athlete. He springs well off the floor. He is kind of limited offensively. I think he needs to expand his game. Of his 191 made field goals, when I was doing some research, 56% of it occurred at the rim. When I saw like NBA Draft.net or stuff like that when I was researching, and 60% of those he was receiving assists. Only shot, and then he weighs just 220. He needs to gain like 15, 20 pounds of muscle to describe the NBA's interior. I think that'll come with time. I think like 3, 4, 5 years from now, I think he'll have his NBA body. But he has displayed some occasional display of face-up skills and ability to spread the floor. And he'll need to be able to shoot the 3 ball to be that stretch for the NBA level and increase his value at the next level. Or if he doesn't improve that 3 ball, it's going to hinder his value and he might not see as much playing time. But he does have the athleticism, the length to be able to cover a lot of ground defensively. He's switchable, and I think he's a very versatile player. It kind of reminds me a little bit of Trace Jackson Davis, who's on the Warriors right now, I believe, or the Jazz. I forgot which team he's on, but he reminds me of him. Warriors, yeah. He's on the Warriors. He reminds me a little bit of him when he was at Indiana. So, yeah, he reminds me of Trace Jackson Davis.
I like it. I like it. For my pick at 22, I got them going Danny Wolf. Now, to me, Danny Wolf is one of the
I had him going somewhere else. You're gonna like where I have him going.
Oh boy, I can't wait to hear. But to me, Danny Wolf was one of the most unique prospects this past year. As a player, he averaged 13 a game, nearly 10 boards, 4 assists, a block, a steal. Shot 50% from the field, 34% from three, 59 from the free throw line. That's got to improve because teams will definitely feast on that. He's got a 7'3" wingspan, 30-inch vertical, which isn't much. He's kind of not a traffic cone, but he's a little stiff out there. He's not the fastest guy, but his ability to create off the dribble, facing up, out the post, and as a primary ball handler, I think like in the age of bigs that can handle the ball, I think that he would add a different dynamic that Atlanta doesn't have right now. Because right now, they're likely going to get rid of, or not likely going to get rid of, but he likely is going to walk and go elsewhere. Clint Capella, and they don't really have many other bigs outside of Okongwu and Georges Niang. Georges Niang is more of a power forward. Okongwu is an undersized big, but he's more of a rim running athlete. I mean, the 3-point shot with him is developing. I'm very high on his game. He showed a lot of promise like the last month of the season, but I think that why not get a player who adds another versatile skill set, right? He had 15 double-doubles this past year, 8 20-point games for a Michigan team that went 27-10. He had some of his best games in conference play. He had 23 versus Minnesota, 14 boards versus Rutgers. Also in that game, had 16 points, 2 assists, 4 blocks, 2 steals. He had 9 assists versus Arkansas, 6 blocks versus USC. In that game, he also had 21 points on 9 of 12 shooting, 2 for 3 from 3, 13 boards, 7 assists, 2 steals. And in the NCAA tournament, in 3 games until they went up to the Sweet 16, he averaged 14 points, 9 boards, 2 assists, 2 blocks, 45% from the field, 33 from 3, 25% from the free throw line. So I mean, there's definitely some efficiency concerns, but he saved his best play. He saved his best play for last. He put up 26, a block, and assist on 9 of 18 shooting, 2-4 from 3, and they lost by 13 against Auburn. But Auburn was the number 1 team in the entire country. And, Johnny Broome was SEC Player of the Year. But to me, I think Danny Wolf is a better prospect. I think that his ceiling is higher. I see aspects of Vlade Divac in his game. I see aspects of a Lauri Markkanen. Now, that's the ultimate ceiling. If he gets there, then again, Atlanta is thanking the lucky stars. But I also see on the lower end,
you think he could be Lauri Markkanen?
Because he's got a nice like step back jump shot. I really like his step back game. I like his low post, the step back. You can tell he probably grew up watching a lot of Dirk Nowitzki. But you can see like I see other guys to his game like a Frank Kaminsky or Kyle Anderson or Kelly Olynyk or Moritz Wagner. Big, able to handle the ball, can post up. Not a stellar athlete, but able to keep the defense honest, spacing the floor, and able to impact the game defensively without being a strong athlete. So I think if you're Atlanta, you have to start thinking outside the box. You have to start thinking about, okay, like we want to build a versatile team, right? You already got Ricochet, who was the number 1 pick last year. Dyson Daniels, who was the most improved player this year and arguably could have won Defensive Player of the Year. Jalen Johnson, who was set to win Most Improved Player, who I think they're going to end up building the team around. all three of those guys, they're all versatile players. They have a variety of skill sets. Okongwu, same deal. So you add a player like Danny, he fits right into what they're trying to build.
Yeah, no, I like that, man. Yeah, I was gonna say the Danny Wolf. I was like, wait, Lauri Markkinen. I'm like, chill. I'm like, because Lauri Markkinen has sneaky athleticism. I watch Danny Wolf's tape. I'm like, I don't see him punching it home on guys like that. Like, that's why I like the Frank Kaminsky. I like better. I like the Frank Kaminsky.
I think the Lauri is
Lauri
like
Markkinen, low key, he could get up there and punch it on somebody. I watched Danny Wolf's tape. I didn't really see that at all.
That's like ultimate ceiling. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not saying that that's the likelihood,
but less athletic Lauri. Less
yes.
athletic Lauri, I would say. Okay. Yes. I like that. All right, so we're at 23. 23 now. We have the Indiana Pacers, the other team in the finals. This is where I have Rasheer Fleming going, man. I feel like this is the perfect fit for Rasheer Fleming. I mean, okay, 6'9", 7'5", wingspan, 240, bro. I feel like him and Cedric Coward are guys who are going to be impact players. Who I feel like they're from underrated schools, guys who are, didn't have a lot of fanfare in high school and stuff like that, or in college, and then they made their way to first round picks. His stat line: 14.7 points, 8.5 rebounds, 1.4 steals, 1.4 blocks, 53% from the field, 39% from three, 74% from the foul line. This guy impacts the game in a multitude of ways, and he is a high energy, high potential guy with great defensive potential, exceptional combination of size, length, agility, and activity. He fits well on this Pacers team that likes to play a frenetic, fast pace. He averaged 3 stocks per game last year. He has an NBA-ready, framer-ready who guard well in the post. He just needs to continue to learn how to stay more disciplined in the post and continue to get stronger. But I think he already has an NBA-ready body, like 6'9", around 240. He might not be the fastest lateral player, but his movement skills are sufficient. He is a great run and jump athlete. This guy is one of the best in transition. And this fits perfectly because you have Tyrese Halliburton running that point, break again now, initiating the break. He could fill in the lane on the left or right side, and Tyrese Halliburton is going to find him for lobs, easy transition baskets, just like he does for Obi Toppin. Like when Obi Toppin got traded,
my brother, I hate to burst your bubble, but New Orleans has pick 23.
Oh, I haven't. Oh, Pacers? I thought when I looked at the draft order, it said the Pacers.
They trade so a couple days ago, because I had to cover this. They traded, so they traded their 26th pick to get back their 2025 pick.
Okay, well at least the Pelicans will get this pick then. Good looks for that. Good looks for that. I didn't know that, man.
I didn't mean to burst your bubble. You was getting excited. I was just like, oh, I don't want to.
Hey,
I want to burst this bubble.
Okay, the Pelicans will get this pick then. So the Pacers got 26 then, right?
No, the Pacers. The Pacers traded out of the first round, but they got their 2026 pick back.
Okay. So well, the Pelicans will get this.
Yes. So they got their pick back from 2026, and the Pelicans got their 2025 pick.
Yeah, I must have missed that. I don't know how I didn't see that. I traded.
No, man. They traded recently? I mean, look. It was just, it was a pick swap. But I mean, think about it. Like today, right? The Suns now are the 10th pick. I had them picking Colin. Yep. I had them picking Colin Murray-Boyles.
I had Derek Queen there. I still think the Suns they need big men, so I'm still staying with that pick. Yeah, I'm still staying with that.
If Derek Queen slides, because I got Derek Queen at 9 to the Raptors, then that would be a perfect team. But then I have Asa Newell at 11, so maybe instead Asa Newell goes at pick 10 and Colin Murray goes at pick 11 to the Blazers. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, so not to burst
the good looks for that though. You would have had me going on a full. I would have had But I've been more focused on the finals and other stuff. I didn't even keep that.
Yeah, I was like, my boy over here
probably
getting
wasn't even
excited.
Like a big news trade because I didn't see no alert on it or nothing.
But
yeah, I just didn't want to. But okay, so the Pelicans will get this guy. Yeah,
I want to
get the Pacers fans hope. You don't have to get the Pacers fans hope.
You're gonna be like, no. So yeah,
I feel like but I feel like what's his name? Fleming. So Pelicans will have this pick at 23. They were 7th in fast break points last season. This is a team that likes to get up and down. I feel like he fits perfectly with them. And then also defensively, he could help them as well. Last year, I'm looking at it right now, stat rankings. What's it called? They were 29th in opponent fast break points allowed. This guy is a really good defender. He knows how to get active in passing lanes. He's a defensive playmaker. He's someone who I think he'll come in right away, fill lanes well in transition, plays above the rim. He's a great open floor athlete. He might be one of the best open floor athletes in this class. And he's a solid shooter, too. Shot 36% on catch and shoot threes, 43% on guarded threes. He was the only player in college basketball last season to have at least 40 dunks and 50 made threes. So he's a unique guy, like in terms of his athleticism and be able to space the floor. But he's not someone who's going to really create his own shot. He's a straight line driver when he has the ball, taking it off the bounce. He needs to get better, more creative as a ball handler. But I think he's going to be a guy who's going to be a finisher, not someone who's going to create his own shot. He's going to have to have somebody who can set him up. Maybe that could be a Jose Alvarado or CJ McCollum. Those are going to be the guys who have to set him up. But he has an NBA-ready body. He's coming right away. He still needs to improve his defensive positioning. But my comparison for him is Taylor Hendricks from Utah Jazz, selected at the top 10 a few years ago. I think 2 years ago or something like that. I think he reminds me of a lot of him. Around the same height, same build, athletic, and a little bit of Jeremy Grant. So I have him at 23.
Bro.
Yeah, well, Pelicans, not the Pacers.
I'm going to go.
I was getting so hyped, though. I thought Pacers. I was like, oh, that's a great fit. Damn it.
I'm going to go another direction, but this is a player who I just talked about recently, and I actually see there being some legitimacy to it. But at pick 23 for the Pelicans, I've got Will Riley from Illinois. Now, Will Riley, 6'8", 6'9", roughly, was the Big Ten sixth man of the year as a freshman. He's already worked out with the Pelicans, so they're familiar with his game. Averaged 13, 4, 2 assists, 43% from the field, 33 from 3, 72 from the free throw line. Came in with a lot of hype and fanfare out of Canada as a 6'8", 6'9" point guard. Kind of turned more into a forward, but he's got the ability to play both the 1 and the 2, in my opinion. Him and Kasparis, Yakusonis, that's how you pronounce his name? Right?
Anyway, what are you talking about? Oh, Kasparis,
Yakusonis, yeah. Kasparis, him and Kasparis Yakusonis were a really good duo in the sense of being, big, jumbo size, point forward type of wings. Both had streaky jump shots, and that is something that is a slight concern. But in 2 games in the NCAA tournament, first game he played really well against Xavier. He had 22 points, leading to victory 86-73. Fortunately, the second game he had 5 points versus Kentucky and they lost. But put those 2 numbers together, that's roughly 13.5 points a game, 4.5 boards, a block, 41% from the field. 41% from the field, 88 from the free throw line, and 38 from the 3-point line. And the thing that a stat that I was very impressed by, he shoots 61.3% off of catch and shoot. To me, that shows me a player that is able to be an on-ball player, but also can be off the ball. Now, I got them picking Ace Bailey with their first pick. But in the event, the possibility that either they lose Trey Murphy the third, or Herb, or lose them both, God forbid. But if that happens, then they're going to need someone of a similar skill set and pedigree to offset that.
What's up, everyone? So, yeah, we had a lot of technical issues yesterday, especially on my end. It was on my end. Yeah, I tried my best. I tried hotspot, tried Wi-Fi. Nothing was working, and it kept going out. So we're just going to pick up where we left off. I know Dylan was talking about Will Riley. We were at pick number 23, the Pelicans. And I know he's talking. So you want to finish on Riley before we go to pick 24?
I will. So, let me get back to it. So Will Riley is a player that I got to do some scouting of, and I came away very impressed with what I saw as a player. He's a highly versatile 6'8" forward that can play a bit of the point, play two. He's not the most explosive athlete, but he's very skilled in his shot creation ability. He won Big Ten Sixth Man of the Year. He's a actual 6'8". You know what I'm saying? No, like 6'7.5". He's fully 6'8", and played really well. And their first round win versus Xavier had a game high 22 points. Had some struggles in the next game against Kentucky that they lost, but overall, you still saw the flashes in his talent. You still saw what he's capable of. He shoots 61% off catch and shoots. He's got a lot of comparisons that I think, like, if you're an NBA team today, you're gonna like the names. But some guys he's been compared to, a less athletic Trey Murphy III, a smaller Michael Porter Jr., Jalen Wells, Cam Reddish, Ochai Agbaji, and Bi as like an ultimate ceiling. And I can see a lot of Keyshawn George. I definitely see the Bi. Yeah, I see some Keyshawn George in his game. And I think he can have that type of impact for the Pelicans. Now, I've had them pick Ace Bailey, and if in the event that they lose both Herb and Trey, now you got two young studs at the forward spot that are highly versatile, highly skilled, can create their own shot. Bailey's a better shot creator, scorer, and Riley's the better passer, kind of on court maestro. So I think it works out. Anytime you have ball handlers that are taller, as we saw in this past finals, it makes things a lot easier. So that's my pick for the Pelicans.
And that was number 23. So now we go to 24. So at number 24 now, we have the Thunder have this pick. This is from the Clippers. Mm-hmm. That Shai Gilgeous trade, man.
Man, the gift that keeps on.
Oh, talk about one of the worst trades in NBA history. Oh, little did people know. But I have them going with the
hindsight is 2020.
What do you say?
I said it's tough because
hindsight is 2020 after the fact, But here, they can use another big man.
You told me in 2019, I would have been like I didn't want them to get rid of Shai, but I was like, hey, Paul George is coming off of MVP caliber year. You got to strike while the iron is hot. So
yeah. But at number 24, Thunder from the Clippers. I haven't gone with a big man here. They can use more depth in their big man department in the centers, especially with Chet. Skinny, it's gonna take time for him to fill up. And then you only have Hartenstein at center. I have Hanson Yang from China, the center, going here. 7'2", 19 years old. He has NBA ready body already. 253, 7'2" wingspan. This guy is a highly skilled big man. I mean, he has a soft touch at the rim, great feel for the game. He makes the right pass at the right time, whether he's on the break or in the high post. He does need to get faster at processing reads. Kind of was a little bit slow at that, playing in the CBA, but again, the NBA, he will be playing against faster, more athletic competition. So he's gonna have to adjust to the speed of the game. He does have a wide range of moves on the block: drop steps, up and unders, half spins, and spin moves. Especially for someone who's so young, you don't really see that often from big men with that type of footwork. Despite his skill, he's not the most explosive player, and doesn't have great quickness. But he can get blown by defensively. But despite that, he was a pretty good shot blocker for the Qingdao Eagles in the CBA. He was the CBA Defensive Player of the Year, actually, and he averaged over 2 blocks per game in his 2 seasons with the Qingdao Eagles. So this guy could be a rim presence as a shot blocker, and just using his height and his wingspan and standing reach, even though he's not the fleetest of feet, he can still try to impact the game defensively. And he rebounds the ball pretty well as well. He was average a double-double for back-to-back years, 15-plus points and 10-plus rebounds, shooting over 50% from the field. And he increased his three-point percentage by 10% from his first to second season. He does need to become a better free throw shooter. He shot below 70% from the free throw line. And I want to see him also improve his jumper and add a consistent floater to his arsenal. So I think he's someone. There's a few guys I said it could be a steal in this class. I think this guy could be one of those like up there in terms of steals. He reminds me of Marc Gasol, and he reminds me of like Alperen Sengun. I don't think he has the sneaky athleticism as Sengun, but he has the passing, the high post feel, just the IQ and skill. He reminds me of those two guys. So I have him going to the Thunder. They could use another big man, highly skilled big man who has, girth to him. I feel like he fits perfectly with them.
I'm not mad at that pick. I mean, I had as you remember, I had OKC going for a big with their first pick at pick 15. But how you had them pick a guard at 24, I have them picking a guard, and I got them picking Walter Clayton Jr. from Florida. National champion, worked hard to get to where he was at. Arguably, top 3-point shooter in this draft class. Fearless player, hard nosed, makes a lot of the right plays, is able to score off the dribble despite not being like a super athlete. And there's a lot of potential that his game has with his ability to create, with his ability to stay immune amongst the pressure, with his ability to deal with different situations, but he handles it well. And I think that the Thunder, in order for them to establish themselves as a dynasty, you need players who come from a winning pedigree. And it certainly helps when you've got a guy who Florida had a great team, but Walter Clayton Jr. was the catalyst. He was the primary scorer, ball handler, and reason why they made the tournament run that they did. And he's been compared to guys like Jordan Clarkson on the smaller end, Peyton Pritchard, which is a comparison I like for him a lot, Ben Gordon as well. So just like kind of like an undersized two that you can play at the one. But I think Walter Clayton is actually a better point guard than people give him credit for. He averaged 4 assists, steal. He's not the most athletic guy, but he does have a 37-inch vertical. So it's like, I mean, Cooper only got like a 30-something inch vertical. And
35, 36, somewhere around there.
Yeah, so it's 35.5. I just looked it up. And Dylan Harper's at 36.5. So it's like, and those two guys are gonna go 1 and 2. So I think that Walter Clayton Jr. has a bright future as like a spark plug off the bench scorer, and perhaps he plays his way onto another team as the guy, or he steps in and is that point guard that they pair next to Shea. But there's a lot of benefit and value to having a player like him on the roster.
Exactly. No, exactly. I feel you on that. So at number 25 now, this is Orlando Magic going from the Denver Nuggets. This probably was from the Aaron Gordon trade. This pick, it had to be. Just had to be. Had a feeling.
Or either Aaron Gordon or Gary Harris.
Gary Harris, that too. It could be. Yeah, this pick has to be from one of those trades. Here I have them going with. Hold up 1 second, but I have them going up with Hugo Gonzalez from Spain, the guard. This guy was once projected as a lottery pick. He doesn't play much in Spain because of how deep they are in talent. But 6'6", 19 years old, 6'10" wingspan, 205. He has struggled with consistency in finding minutes, 10.7 per game. Spain's deep roster in La Liga and the EuroLeague. The EuroLeague's arguably considered the best league outside the NBA in the world. He's a dynamic shot creator. He's a really capable playmaker who get downhill. He's someone who can really play above the rim. When you watch his tape, he attacks the rim with ferocity. It reminds me a little bit like Iman Ginobili, a little bit, the way he attacks the rim, how aggressive he is.
I like that.
He's a shifty ball handler. He can finish with either hand. He also excels in his movement without the ball. I think he'll be able to play in a lot of systems in the NBA as someone who doesn't need the ball in his hands. He's like connective tissue. And I think that's going to make him a very good player. I think early on, he does need to improve his outside shot. He only shot 27% from 3.
Yeah.
from through 3 seasons with Real Madrid. He possesses good overall mechanics on his shot and a great shooting stroke, but that should help him develop into a reliable shooter over time. But he does remind me of someone like a little bit of Manu, has some Evan Fournier to his game, Rudy Fernandez. Say those guys. If his shooting was better, and with his how young he is, and if he would have got more minutes and he could have showed what he could do, and his shooting was a little bit better, he'd be a lottery pick, in my opinion. Yeah, he has the shiftiness, the handle, athleticism, plays hard. And he just needs to become a better shooter. And if he had more opportunity, he's not getting a lot of minutes, but I think he'll be a good player. He'll be a good player.
He was a guy that I was like, I debated a lot about with where I wanted to slot because, as you mentioned, the shot creation, the youth, the three level scoring, but his shooting has to improve tremendously, and he needs more minutes. So he just barely misses the first round for me, but he's like right. I think he's gonna get picked at the top of the second round.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, he's
no,
late first round for me. Late
yeah,
first round.
I like that pick though. For me, I'm going with a guy that Armani picked much earlier, but Liam McNeely from UConn. Now, Liam McNeely, his stock did slip quite a bit. Unfortunately, just due to the team not being at the same level as that last year's team was with Stephon Castle, or even the team before that with Jordan Hawkins. But I think that Liam McNeely, as a player, we know what he's capable of as a shooter. I'm not worried about his 3-point percentage falling off. I'm not worried about him not being the greatest defender of the world. You know what I'm saying? But I think that his ability as a playmaker when called upon, that 38-point game he had against Creighton, it definitely raised my eyes for seeing that, okay, he can score, he can put the ball on the floor. He's not just a shooter. He can score in the paint, he can score in the post even with his size, which I really like, because I feel like sometimes guys his height, they fall in level with the jumper a little too much, but he's got the catch and shoot ability. He can move off, on and off ball. And Orlando needs more shot creation. They need more guys that can create, can shoot, and they need just more explosiveness offensively. Defensively, I think that's why I had them pick. That's why I had them pick Carter Bryant with their first round pick, because I feel like the defensively and the athletic, versatility, I feel like Carter Bryant kind of brings that. And I was another guy who I was like thinking of for him, not to deviate, but like, and it's kind of funny because he wears his number that he wears in the pros, but he doesn't have like that point forwardness. But just in terms of being like as an athlete, as a defender, as a versatile Swiss Army knife guy, he has some Andre Iguodala to his game. And then with McNeely, I see he's been compared to guys like Corey Kisser. He's been compared to Keegan Murray. I see some Mike Dunleavy in his game though, in terms of being a guy who is a sneaky athletic guy, but he can shoot. He can shoot well. He's not a total liability out there on defense. He plays physical and tough. So yeah, I think Liam McNeely would fit well into Orlando and give them another guy that can play well next to Powell, can play well next to Franz and Desmond Bain and everybody else they got in it.
I like that. So next we have the Brooklyn Nets. This pick's from the New York Knicks. This pick, number 26. Yeah, number 26. This I have Nick Clifford from Colorado State, the forward, going here. This guy's he's one of the older players in the draft class, but 18.9 points per game last year, 9.6 rebounds, 4.5 assists, basically 1.2 steals, almost 50% from the field shooting, 37% from three. 6'6", 202, 6'8" wingspan. 23 years old. So this guy's coming in right away. I think could come in right away and play a rotation spot for a playoff team and make impactful minutes right away. This guy excels as a long-range marksman. He shot 37% from 3 on 5 attempts per game. So he's not just shooting threes on a low volume. He's shooting at a pretty solid volume, 5 attempts per game. That's someone who could take a lot of threes and make it at an efficient rate. He's a solid role player. I think will be a great solid role player for a playoff team at the NBA level. I don't know at this rate, the East, this looks like any team can make the playoffs next year. All these injuries. So the Nets, we don't know. They played really solid early in the season. We don't know. At this rate, with all the injuries, anything's up in the water in the East next year. For at least next season. He excels as a 3-level scorer. He can take it to the hoop, make 3-pointers, and he's a really versatile guy. I really like about him. He improved every single season he was in college. He began his college career at Colorado off the bench, and then he's a fifth-year guy. Eventually became a go-to guy at Colorado State, averaging over 19 per game as a fifth-year senior. He's an excellent athlete as well. He can finish with either hand, explosive above the rim. He finished 66% at the rim this past season. He has potential to be a solid team defender. I feel like he could be someone who can guard 1 through 3s at the next level, maybe potentially small ball 4s. He's someone who really gets after it defensively, and he's willing to guard and be a ball hound and take full court press and stuff like that and guard guards. I know people are going to look at his age, 23, and they're going to be like, I don't know if I want to take him. But at this point in the draft, you're drafting based on like fit, team need. You're not really drafting based on talent in this portion of the draft. You're drafting on a guy who can help you win and make an immediate impact at this point in the draft and team fit and need. So I feel like he fits what the Nets need. They could use another wing who could score and stuff like that. I'm sure they could use some shooting as well. So I feel like he's good for them at 26.
That's a good pick for them. I mean, I got him going a bit. I think I got him going 10 picks higher. Yeah, 8 picks higher. Yeah, to Washington. But I think Nick Clifford is a very polished prospect, and anyone who can stay the course of time and not lose track of their journey like that, I respect. He kind of reminds me of Wilson Chandler, like Washington, like kind of like the 3-and-D potential that I see from him. But I think he's got more scoring chops, just like a Wilson Chandler. Of like, if you need me to, I go out and get some buckets. I don't need you to create my shot. So I think that would be a good pick for them, though. For me, I got them taking Chaz Lanier, who played at Tennessee this past year, averaged 18 a game, 4 boards, an assist. One of the best 3-point shooters in the draft, shot 39.5% from 3. Given that Cam Thomas's name has been floating around in trade talk as he's arguably the Nets' best asset if they do want to make a trade. I mean, they've already got 4 first-round picks in this draft, but if they want something else, if they want to see who else that they can possibly get, then he's likely going to unfortunately just be included into that. So you get a guy who is not a shot creator like him, but he is a very talented shot maker, and he's got a 39-inch vertical. He's able to hit contested shots from both mid-range and 3. He definitely has to work on his playmaking on ball. But I think that, with Brooklyn kind of just fully embracing rebuilding, a guy like Chaz could come in right away. He already has some experience to his game. As he played 4 years. He was, just like with Nick Clifford, he played 4 years he played at another university. He was 4 years at North Florida. But when he came to Tennessee, the bigger lights, the bigger spotlight, he maximized his opportunity. So I think that Brooklyn needs guys that are, 1, ready to play, and then 2, are providing a skill set that is going to be absolutely valued. They need more shooting. They need more, they need more youth that's like actually ready and developed. So I think Chaz Lanier would be a perfect pick for them. And he's been compared to Malik Beasley. I see a little bit of a guy like, and I see some parts of like Desmond Bane to his game. I think Desmond Bane was a better shot creator coming out of TCU, but in the sense of like as that like microwave scorer, that's like very jump shot based, not necessarily going to take it to the rim a lot, but going to beat you on the outside. I can see that to his game. So I think that'd be a good pickup for them, and I think that they'll be able to move forward.
Nah, I like that. I like that. We're at 27 now. Brooklyn Nets have this pick too. This is from the Rockets. The guy I originally have here, I think I'm gonna move him to 30, and the guy I had at 30, I think I'm gonna move him up to this pick because I feel like he'll fit even better. Here again at number 27, I have the Brooklyn Nets. This pick's from the Houston Rockets. So I'm switching from this guy from number 30 to number 27. I'm switching the number 27 guy to number 30. I have them selecting on Noah Penda from France, Le Mans, France. The forward, 6'8", 20 years old, 242 pounds. This dude's built. This guy is ready to come in the NBA right away playing against men. 7-foot wingspan. He averaged over 10 points per game, 5 rebounds, 2.5 assists, 1.5 steals, 44% from the field, 30% from three, 69% from the charity stripe. Big-bodied NBA forward who could play the power forward position and be able to. I think he could be a guy right away who has NBA ready body to be able to guard at least like a Zubac or Jokic. At least make it tough for them defensively. He has that type of build. He's someone who plays physical. He finished through contact. He's not afraid of contact. He embraces it. He has a nifty handle. He knows how to create opportunities, going to the basket at the rim. He runs the floor really well for his size, out in transition, finishes with urgency, which is if you're the Nets, you could use that. And they can also use his rebounding and physicality, because last year, the Nets, I'm looking at it right now, 29th in rebounds. They were second to last in rebounds per game, and they were 28th in points in the paint. This guy is innate at getting to the rim and drawing contact and embracing it. That's why I think he fits perfectly with the Nets. I know he's 6'8", so he's a little bit of a tweener, especially since he's not a great three-point shooter. He's kind of streaky. He only had 3+ three-point makes in 3 times all season last year, regular season, playoffs, international over the last year. When I looked at probasketball.com, he does have the ability to flash that three-point ability, but he needs to get more consistent with it. Especially, I feel like that will enhance his value and elevate his value more if he could become a consistent three-point shooter, at least like 35%. I'm not saying you got to be 40, 45, but if you become a 35%, defense is like, oh, this guy we have to step out and try to close out on him. And I think that will open up his drive game, and that will also make it easier for his teammates as well. His defensively, though, he kind of lacks lateral mobility. That kind of hurts him, especially when he's trying to make up ground on closeouts and he gets beaten by a guard or a quick forward. But he makes up for it with a 7-foot wingspan. He does have the opportunity to be a good help defender, and he can protect the rim as someone who could be a secondary ring protector. We'll see. He does have quick hands, though. He knows how to anticipate steals. He has rotational IQ. Has been questioned. He does kind of get blown by quick shifty guards, but he is a great driver. He's a quick passer who has good accuracy on his jump passes, and he reads the floor well for someone his size, his position, and he knows how to find cutters. I said to me, he's Draymond Green-esque. He's a little bit like Draymond, a little bit. I think he's maybe a little more athletic than Draymond. A little more athletic. I don't think he's as good defensively as Draymond, but in terms of like passing wise, he's good. He embraces physicality. That's where I kind of get the Draymond Green-esque. And he reminds me maybe a little taller PJ Tucker. Maybe a little taller PJ Tucker. CJ Tucker 6'5". This guy's 6'8". I think he reminds me of those guys. So I have him going to the Brooklyn Nets at 27.
Okay. I like that. I like that pick for them. That's a high upside pick for them, which is something that they utilize. I got a guy that maybe doesn't have the most upside, but he's a very polished prospect. But Maxime Reynaud, the 7'1" center out at Stanford, the young man is also one of the older prospects in this draft, but a very polished big man. Is able to dominate, kind of like an old school big in the low post. Able to face up well, passes well out in the post as well. He's someone that has a lot of touch and a lot of polish to his game, and I think Brooklyn, as they figure out how they want to build and construct their roster, they have to think about the versatility of how they put certain lineups together. And if they have Claxton or a big like him, you're going to need a big that can also space the floor, that has the ability to, keep the defense honest. I mean, he's 7'1" with a 7'2" wingspan, but he only has a 31.5-inch vertical, so he's not an athlete. But he did average a block a game. He also averaged 10 rebounds a game. Shot 35% from three, 20 a game, and there's a lot to his game that reminds me of Brook Lopez. And it kind of helps. It's ironic that they both went to Stanford, but I see a lot in his game with a Brook Lopez. I've seen some people go as far as saying like his ultimate ceiling is like a Rasheed Wallace, which, hey, you get a Rasheed Wallace at pick 28, 27, you're a very happy person, because Rasheed Wallace went top 5 back in 1995. So that's a big pickup for them. I think that you have to make sure that whatever big that you play him next to is more of an athlete, is more of a defender. But from the low post, I think that Maxime is one of the best prospects in this class, bar none. I think that he can score on just about anybody. So, and at worst, he's going to be like a Luke Cornett at worst, which, I mean, I'm, as a Celtics fan, shout out to my boy Luke. But, like at worst, he's a respectable rotational big. But if he can hit that next level of ceiling, now granted, he is like quote unquote older, but if he can hit that next ceiling, then that's a great pick. So yeah, I'm going Maxime Reynaud for them with their pick.
Heard. Number 28, we have the Boston Celtics here. Your team.
Gang green.
This one, this one might be a little personal for you. But here, I'm going with a big man, Danny Wolf out of Michigan, the center. 7 foot, 250, 7'2" wingspan, 21 years old. 13.2 points per game last season. 9.7 rebounds per game, so almost average a double-double. 3.5 assists, 1.5 blocks per game. Almost 50% from the field at 49%, 33% from three. But his free throw shooting, 59%. That needs to get better. He does have a unique game at his height. He's someone, when I was watching some of the tape, because I didn't watch Michigan much, but when I was watching some of the tape, though, this guy initiates the pick and roll on the perimeter and in transition. Like, I'm like, oh, this guy is running the pick and roll as a legit ball handler.
Why do you think I put him so
this
high?
guy?
His talent.
Only reason I can't put him so high is because he doesn't have the athleticism, or we're going to get to some of his weaknesses. But yeah, as a pick and roll situation, as a point center, I'm like, whoa, that's unique. He's not someone, though, who's going to blow by defenders or wow you with athleticism. That's why I don't think he's as high for me. Especially because when I was watching some of his film, he kind of does, to create separation, he needs a screen to get some separation. I didn't really see him create separation on his own with his dribble or using his body. He always needs somebody to set a screen for him to separate him from him and his defender. And that's something that's going to be harder in the NBA when guys are stronger, more athletic, and they're smarter. So he does have a solid jumper. He has range that extends out to the three-point land. That'll need to improve, though. He only shot 28.6% on unguarded threes and 37% on guarded threes. He'll need to become a much better free throw shooter. He shot just 59% last season and 64% throughout his collegiate career. That'll need to drastically improve at the NBA level, or teams are going to do the hack a wolf whenever he's on the court. So he also possesses the ability to serve as offensive hub in the high post. I think he could be a really good high post passer. I think he has the IQ, the height, and the feel for the game. I think he could be a good backup big for the Celtics, especially if they do end up trading Porzingis or whatever happens with him. I know there's been rumors about that. You still have Neemias Queta there. You still have Luke Cornett there. Maybe you want to give up Luke Cornett and have this guy come in and fill his role. He could be that guy. Because I think he's more talented as a ball handler and a passer than Luke Cornett is. Even though Cornett, I'm sure you love, but I think he's more talented in that retrospect of the game. But he does a good job of finding open cutters who cut baseline for easy baskets. He can initiate the break and transition, oversee the defense. Defensively, though, I think he's going to be a liability. He does not have good foot speed or quickness or vertical pop. He only converted on 50% of his baskets in transition last season, which is concerning for a 7-footer. You want to see a 7-footer be able to finish at a much higher rate in transition than that. So that's something that kind of made me a little wary. He reminds me of Frank Kaminsky and Kelly Olynyk. That's who That's who he reminds me of. Those are my comparisons for him. So yeah, I think he goes well for the Celtics, man. They could use those seems like that type of big man they draft. I feel like if they do get rid of Luke Cornett or Neemias Queta, I will keep. I think he's a better backup big than Cornett. Even though I love Cornett, he'd be catching those lobs. But I think Neemias Queta, when Porzingis was out for that long period of time, he was the starting big, and the Celtics were doing great, and Neemias Queta he kept them afloat. Yeah, so I think Danny Wolf could come in and be like a little bit better version of Cornett. So I think I have him at 20 to the Celtics.
I like that. I wouldn't be mad at all if we got him. I got him going pick 22 to the Hawks. I'm very high on his game as a whole. I think he's got a lot of versatility and a lot of skill. But I got us kind of, some might say a reach here, but I think that he's a guy that is going to flourish in an environment where he doesn't have to take on the weight of all the offensive responsibility, but still be tested early. But I got my Celtics, let me not say us, but I got my Celtics taking Hunter Salas from Wake Forest. 6'5", 6'10" wingspan, 38-inch vertical. One of the more well-rounded athletes of his class. Averaged 18 a game, 5 boards, 3 assists. Only shot 28% from 3, but I'm not too worried about that. He's got a beautiful jump shot. He can create for himself very easily. He finishes at the basket well. He's got to get stronger, but I think that he projects as a great spark plug type of scorer off the bench, occasional starter. And given that this year, likely what's going to happen is that, we're likely going to lose either Drew or Porzingis or both. And then that's going to slot either Pritchard. That's going to probably put Pritchard at the 1, or that's going to put Derek White. Yeah, they might run a lineup of like Pritchard, Derek White, and Jaylen Brown. You're going to need scorers off the bench. And he's got a lot of Jamal Crawford to his game in terms of shot creation, his ability to, stop on a dime, pull up, use spins, just be very, very explosive in that way. I've seen also some comparisons to Dante DiVincenzo. I throw a comparison that I would throw for him, in like a modern sense, but like a Vinnie Johnson, you know what I'm saying? Just that microwave scorer off the bench that can come in and heat check and go off. And knowing our roster moving forward, we're going to need more of those guys. I want to see I'm anxious to see what happens with Jordan Walsh. I think he's going to have a bigger role this year. So that was the only reason why I didn't have us pick a small forward. But with Jaylen Brown likely playing the 3 this year, I would like to see us get a 2 guard that is able to, push for a Derek White or Peyton Pritchard impact off the bench. So with them likely becoming in the starting lineup, you need someone who's going to fit into their spot. So I got us picking Hunter.
I like that. 29 now. Hopefully my Wi-Fi ain't bugging. But 29 now.
Picks,
we have
man.
2 more left. 2 more.
Woo!
What you say?
I said we got it. We can do it.
What you say? Yeah, Wi-Fi, please don't fail me.
Please don't fail me now.
So 29, we got the Phoenix Suns here. We got this pick's from the Cleveland Cavaliers. So here at 29, I have the Phoenix Suns selecting Will Riley here, the Illinois freshman forward from Canada. 6'8", 19 years old, 6'8" wingspan, 195. He averaged 12.5 points per game last season, 4 rebounds, 2.2 assists, shot 43% from the field, 32% from 3, 72% from the foul line. So the Suns ended up trading KD. They got Jalen Green and they got Dylan Brooks. But I think they could go with another wing here who has high upside. Because honestly, if I'm Devin Booker, I'm probably looking to get out of there. At this point, you're not going to have any realistic chance of even contending to even make a conference finals run, let alone an NBA finals run. Your team has been going downhill ever since you guys got rid of Chris Paul. It's been downhill every single year. And now with KD out, and KD even said they wanted him out. He didn't want to leave. The team decided they wanted him to leave. And if I'm Booker, that's kind of rubbing me the wrong way. And I'm thinking, okay, I need to get out of here. So the Suns are probably looking in direction. Okay, we might need to start a rebuild, just draft some young assets. I think Will Riley could be that guy. He was the Big Ten Sixth Man of the Year for the Fighting Illini. He was highly productive in his freshman year. He's a really raw, talented shot maker, athletic wing. He's just scratching the surface, I believe, what he could become. He's very skinny, wiry frame, 195. He'll need to get way stronger at NBA level to guard stronger guards defensively, and also so he doesn't get bumped off his spots when he's attacking the rim offensively. One thing I like about him, though, he has a relentless motor when attacking the basket. He has a herky-jerky nature to his game. He's very controlled, and it's very enticing to me how he kind of attacks the basket in his handle. I'm like, okay, I see the talent in this. Some people even said they remind him of like a young rookie like Shea. Some people also said that, like, yeah, Brandon Ingram, early Shea, like first year, second year Shea, when he was like skilled, but nobody saw, like, he wasn't like as coordinated and stuff or strong yet as he is now and as polished.
Yeah.
I was watching the film. I was like, oh, I could see it a little bit. I see it a little bit. I was like, that makes a little sense. And I definitely see Brandon Ingram, like you mentioned earlier. He has displayed confidence in his jumper. He has a quick release that allows him to get a shot almost off against anybody at 6'8". He does need to become more efficient. Only shot 30% on twos, 30% from three off the bounce, 33% catch and shoot threes, and 29% on unguarded catch and shoot attempts. Defensively, though, he's not. That's his weakness. He's not a reliable defender. He does tend to get beaten defensively. He's not able to, like I said, hold his ground against stronger opponents. He has potential, though, to be a really good facilitator. I think he could be like a third tertiary playmaker for a team. Maybe I don't think he'll never be a primary playmaker, or maybe not even a secondary, but I think he could be a tertiary, third, fourth playmaker on a team. He finished with 78 assists to 42 turnovers, which is a 1 point assist to 1 turnover ratio. And my comparisons for him, I would say young rookie Shea, unpolished Shea, young Brandon Ingram. He reminds me of like those guys when they were like raw before they were unpolished and what they are now, the unrefined version of them. So I have him going to the Suns. I think the Suns are in a if I'm Devin Booker, I'm probably asking out, and it looks like they're in like they're heading into like a rebuild mode, pretty much. So draft as much young guys as you can, and I think Will Riley fits them. Because some mocks I saw, they haven't gone second round. They didn't even have him in the first round. I think he's at least late first round worthy.
Yeah, easily. We'll see how the draft plays out, trades, all those things. So anything's possible. But no, I like that pick for them, and I think that they would welcome a player who is multi-skilled, can step in at the small forward spot, able to provide an impact. I've got them going in another direction, and it might be even counterproductive, but I think that with his physical intangibles, it would be more likely. It would make more sense. But I've got the Suns picking Jace Richardson from Michigan State. He's listed somewhere in the range between 6'3", 6'2", 6'1". So he's in that vicinity. 6'6" wingspan. The son of the legendary Jason Richardson himself does not have that same level of explosive athleticism as his dad, but he's got a 38-inch vertical. He's a very smooth and polished player. He was third team All Big Ten this year, Big Ten All Freshman team. Averaged 12 points a game, three boards, 2 assists, 49% from the field, 41 from three, and 84% from the free throw line. He had 20-point games, including a really big game against number 23 ranked Oregon. Had 29 points, 5 boards, a steal, and a win. Shot 9 for 13, 3 for 6 from three, 8 for 9 from the free throw line. He had, got 8 boards versus number 16 Maryland, 8 assists versus Minnesota. And against Michigan in the in-state rival game, they won 75-62 against Danny Wolf. They had 21 points, 6 boards, 3 steals on 7 of 12 shooting, 2 for 4 from 3, and 5 for 6 from the free throw line. And he's a very intelligent player. You can tell he's both like he's definitely a pros kid, but he also kind of like a coach's son out there. Very smart player. Michigan State didn't really have like a atypical go-to player this year, but they had one of their best tournament runs since 2019, and you could argue that Jace Richardson was the most important player on this roster. He's been compared to guys like Derek White, Eric Gordon, which is a comparison I like for him a lot. Monte Ellis, Rip Hamilton, Dante DiVincenzo, and Darius Garland. His biggest key is going to be, can you turn into a lead? Can you keep developing as a lead guard? Can you play more point guard? Because at your size, you're going to be a little bit of a liability. You're going to be a bit of a liability defensively. So it make more sense for him to play point. But I will say, even though like he's not the biggest, he's a very engaged and active defensive player. He's a guy that gives his 100%. There is some small degree of 6th degree of separation. And everything I've heard about him character-wise, like he's like everyone raves about him. And Tom Izzo raves about him all the time. And Tom Izzo's no coach that's just gonna praise you for no reason. You have to, be one, a great player, and two, your character has to really check out. So I was just very impressed with what I saw with Jace Richardson, how he was able to impact the game without scoring. And I think Phoenix, they've been ignoring the issue of getting a point guard. But I would like to see them, I would like to see what a duo of Jace Richardson and Jalen Green could do. I think that they would complement each other's game well. So I think Phoenix would be smart to, even though Jace Richardson probably is going to get picked earlier, but if he does slide, I think this would be a good spot for him. And I think he could step in right away and get comfortable, get out.
Yeah, that's good. No, that's good. All right, we're on our last one now. Number 30. We have the Clippers here. This is from the Thunder. Hopefully the Wi-Fi ain't. So here I have them selecting Drake Powell out of North Carolina. 6'6", 7-foot wingspan, 200 pounds, 19 years old. Very raw prospect, but he might be the class's best athlete. I mean, maximum vertical 43 inches at the combine. That was the highest of everybody there.
That was,
and one of the most highest in recent combine history. This guy can play above the rim. There's guys who have bounce, and there's guys who levitate. Like Ja Morant levitates.
I like it.
Anthony Edwards, he could levitate. He got bounce, but I think Ja levitation. Powell could play above the rim. He could leap off powerfully with 1 or 2 feet. It's rare to see guys who are great jumping off 1 and 2 feet. Usually one or the other.
That is true.
He has he has gargantuan arms, 7-foot wingspan. He's swift. He's one of the best lateral movers in the class. He has outstanding defensive upside. I think going to a team where he could learn from Tyronn Lue, the fundamentals of defense, and then playing with Kawhi Leonard, one of the greatest defensive players ever, top 5, in my opinion, especially and arguably the GOAT perimeter defender ever. He's in that conversation, him or Pippen. Like, to learn from that, I think that would be great. And he could be kind of similar to Kawhi. Maybe not as good as Kawhi, but I'm talking about like raw, not as good offensively coming. Yeah, not as good offensively coming into the league. He's probably more athletic than Kawhi was coming to the league. But he has long arms.
Yeah.
He has great lateral quickness. He's a defensive hawk. And I think that's where he's going to get his calling card in NBA. Most of his minutes coming in NBA are going to be coming from his defense and then playing hard and getting out in transition. He's not someone I expect to be a primary scorer coming to the NBA. That's going to take time. I don't think he'll ever be a primary scorer. Might be a 3rd, 4th option on the team one day. He'll be a good role player, energy guy off the bench. Maybe one of the best. He could be one of the better defenders in the league one day if he really if he realizes his potential. I think he could be like a defensive stopper one day that can guard top guards in the league one day, or even like threes, because since he's 6'6", he probably goes to small forwards. He needs to strengthen his skills though as an off the bounce creator, as a scorer and playmaker. He has shown the ability to be a kind of reliable knockdown shooter. So it's not like he's someone who can't shoot at all. He shot 37% from 3, 66% at the rim, and he was 48% from the field. So it's not like he's a terrible shooter, but he's not someone who's really polished offensively. But the fact that he has shown some ability to hit the 3, maybe he could be like a rookie Kawhi. Just be an energy guy defensively, guard the team's best backcourt player, and then hit corner threes and just play with energy early on in his career. And then he won't have a lot of pressure to be the guy because you're going to the Clippers. James Harden's there. Kawhi's there. Zubac is an all-star type big man. So you're not going to be looked at to be anybody who's going to really have to be looked at to score upon as you develop your game. Just come in, play energy, play hard, play with, learn from the guys, learn from your coach, Tyronn Lue, one of the best coaches in the NBA. And they're going to teach you the fundamentals of the game, polish your game up, and ins and outs and nuances of the NBA. He was 70, and then last year among freshmen, he was 70th in assist percentage. That's where his playmaking needs to get better. He was near the bottom of that, 58th among freshman guards. So he's not someone who's going to really make others better. But I think at number 30, I think that's a good spot for him. He's someone who's going to be a late first round or early second round pick. I had him just making the first round. So I have Drake Powell from North Carolina closing out. No, for me, my 30 players.
Well, how poetic, because I do as well.
Oh, we start off with Ray Cooper. We had number 14 the same, Georgetown. We had number 8 the same with Brooklyn with Jeremiah Fears. And now we have this the same. That's funny.
Yeah, man. Hey, great minds think alike. But no, you kind of hit on a lot of the points. Some players that he's been compared to. He's been compared to guys like Herb Jones, Thabo Sefolosha, Mikal Bridges, Isaac Okoro. I can see though, like the Kawhi is like the ultimate ceiling. I see some Ron Artest in his game as far as like just he's physically more compact, but he's got more bounce than Ron. You know what I'm saying? I think like as a Duke fan, right? I'm hard on the UNC prospects just because, Duke versus UNC. But
you a hater.
But I feel like, but not a hater, but every year they're always hyping somebody up. And coming into this year, all the hype was on RJ Davis. I don't see RJ Davis on any team's draft boards right now. But I think he's probably gonna, if he's got another year of eligibility, I think he's probably gonna try to play a little bit more. And I think RJ Davis is a good player. I don't know what he projects at as a pro level. But yeah, a lot of the hype and fanfare was on him, but Drake Powell was the most impressive prospect to me, in the terms of his defensive ability, which I think is better than his offensive ability right now, but then his athletic potential, his physical pedigree. And I think that, you mentioned him learning under Kawhi. I think him learning from Harden and a guy, or even a guy like Norman Powell, who entered the NBA as a defensive type of specialist, energy guy, and now is like a very talented shot creator for himself. I think him learning from them two as well is going to pay dividends. The Clippers definitely need to figure out long term who is going to be on that roster that they build from and build with. And if Drake Powell puts it all together, as crazy as it is, he could be a very special player. But he's got to add a bag to his offensive creation. He does not have like that. Doesn't really have like an arsenal or go-to move. So that's got to change. And I feel like once that changes, he's already a good shooter. He's got the vert. He's got the wingspan. If he adds that, then he might end up being like the steal of the entire draft. You know what I'm saying? Like I think about how Jimmy went pick 30 back in 2011.
Yeah.
Same draft with Kawhi and similar.
Yeah,
like
I would say he reminds me of like a rookie Kawhi and some Jimmy Butler to his game. He's more athletic than both of them though, coming out of college.
He's more athletic than both of them, and he's more physically developed than both. So and he's a freshman. They were both. Yeah. Kawhi was a sophomore, and Jimmy was a junior or senior when he came out the draft. So I think the ceiling is incredibly high for Drake Powell. If I'm the Clippers, you're a team that had a chance to make it to the conference semifinals versus OKC, and I actually think that the Clippers would have given OKC. I feel like that also would have been a 7-game series, just off the defensive matchups, just off of who was playing versus who. And I think that there still is a slight title window for them. I don't think it's fully been shut. But when you add a player like Drake Powell, yes, he's young, he's raw, but the intangibles, man, you just can't teach 7 foot wingspan and a 43-inch vert. You can't teach that. That is all God given. That is all innate. So I'm excited to see what Drake Powell can become, and I think that that'd be the perfect pick for them because it's kind of low risk of you don't need him right now per se, but it can be a high reward of like you could potentially have a franchise cornerstone-esque player at pick 30. So that's my pick, and it's quite ironic, the overlap in agreeing on the having the same pick in the first, 14th, and then now 30th. So
Yeah,
it's been awesome.
Beginning, middle, and end.
Hey, look,
Beginning, middle,
breakfast,
and
lunch,
end.
and dinner.
That's great.
All the parts. But I do think though, like, I mean, in our conversations, we've talked a lot about the strength of this draft class, and I think the biggest strength of this draft class is the depth, is the amount of talent that there is, and the amount of guys that are going to outperform where they've been selected.
Yep, I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you, this draft, the guys who I think will be steals in this class, in 2025 NBA draft, the steals, Cedric Coward, Hanson Yang.
Yep.
I think Noah Asenge could be really good. I think Drake Powell. This is a good class. Nolan Trayor, if he drops, he's gonna be a steal. Those are some guys to me that really stand out to me as potential steals in this class. I'm trying to think who else do I see that could be a potential steal that's not coming up to me right off the bat. But yeah, those guys, Rasheer Fleming, those guys to me, I think those guys are going to be really good NBA players. I mean, I would say Joan Behringer as well. I want to see how he develops offensively. I gotta wait and see more. I gotta see how he develops. Ben Saroff, if he develops that jumper, he can be really good.
He's in that same category with Hugo.
Yeah.
Like, I want to put y'all in that first round. Y'all are like just sniffing it. Y'all are like just right outside. So
yeah, and I think Thomas Sorber too. I think he's gonna be really good. So I think he's gonna be a really good backup big in the league. Maybe even potential starting big in the league if he improves his 3-point shot, and that's really adds that to his game and just gets him, to get better.
We saw OKC. We saw OKC when they stopped playing around. What do? They ran that 2 big lineup with Hartenstein and Chet. Indiana, they made it to the finals with Miles and Pascal. I think that the big man is going back to being a value player, which to me that's the type of NBA that I love. I was a point guard, so I'm always gonna show love to the fellow point guards. But I loved watching the post play. I loved watching the defensive physicality of 2 bigs going at it. And I remember when teams were looking for a center to be their franchise cornerstone or a power forward. So I think that era is coming back in some small ways. But this is the draft where if you have a first round pick, keep it. Don't get rid of it. There's a lot of talent in this draft. I think this draft is more. I think there's more depth in this draft than 2026. I think 2026 has the better top talent.
Yeah. No, 2026 has more high-end top talent in the top, like 5, top 10.
Yeah. And then both draft classes are better than 2024. Like that's not
Yeah, no discussion there.
No argument to be had.
Yeah. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, that's gonna do it for a great. Oh, you say?
So I'm glad we're able to do this and no technical issues either.
Hey, my laptop keeps saying trying to reconnect. I'm like, let's hurry up and finish this. But yeah, ladies and gentlemen, this has been another great episode with my guy Dylan, giving y'all 2 parts in-depth draft coverage. We had Armani in the first part, and me and Dylan did the second part.
We have 3
in-depth draft coverage, had the NBA draft. Part 1's already out, so make sure you guys go check it out. Subscribe, follow, spread the word, and I created a sick thumbnail for that one. So make sure you guys go check out that episode. If you're on our audio platforms or anything, wherever you get your podcasts, I'm on Spotify, Apple, or you can watch it on YouTube. Yeah, Dylan's another great. Tell people where to find your work before we go.
First off, DJ, thank you as always having me on your platform. Happy 5 years to you. To many more years, my brother. To many more years. Glad to be on this journey with you, my brother. Y'all can follow me at Quan_solo. I just uploaded a podcast episode today that I shot a couple days ago recapping Game 6, and I inadvertently predicted some stuff that happened in this past Game 7 of the NBA Finals. But stay tuned. There'll be a Game 7 reaction and just overall look at off-season stuff. And you can follow my podcast page, Chilling with Dylan 1229, also where a lot of my content is, and my YouTube, Chilling with Dylan, sports, music, life takes, slowly but surely building from the ground up. But the only way is up. That's the only way you can go. So much love, DJ. Thank you, as always, for having me on your platform. And anytime you call, I'm there.
Exactly. That's why we connect so well, man. My guy never says no for some reason when he's tired.
Yo, man.
I'm like, I don't know how you do it all the time.
I'm too stubborn to quit, man, and I want this dream too badly. Just like I know you, how badly you want it. So you inspire me with your work ethic, with your dedication. So I say, hey, I gotta let myself also take it seriously like that. If I want this as bad as I say I do, then I have to show it with my results. I have to show it with my execution.
Yeah. Got it. Hey, man, you're doing the damn thing, man. You're doing it. You're getting them reps, man. You've been hard at work lately on podcasts. My podcast.
Yeah,
the Money's live.
Hey, man, you've been inspiring me, bro, for real, because you've been so consistent at it. So I'm blessed that I've got great friends like you that I can watch and be inspired by, and we're all building. We're all trying to build something bigger than ourselves right now, and that's what it comes down to.
Exactly. And Amani said, saying I inspired him to make a brand. He saw my stuff. I was like, what? I was like, what? I was shocked by that. I was like, yo, DJ. It's like, yo, I saw your stuff, man. He's like, yo, you inspired me to create my thing. I didn't create it till last year. I'm like, whoa. I'm like, wait, no way.
Real rap, man. Look, game like, recognized game, bro. You've been doing your thing, man, for real. Like, we all, everyone in our chat, we all gonna be known. We all gonna be highly respected because we all have a love for it. We have true knowledge, and we want to push the game and the dialogue around it forward. We're not trying to,
in a positive light.
Yeah, we're not trying to, get our kicks in and whatnot. No, we all love the game so much. I mean, you out of everyone, you actually from stuff you told me, you actually have the best chance of like becoming a top athlete. But man. I know stuff would happen in your life. You have to adjust. You had to man, look, two torn meniscuses. So I understand all too well, man. Yeah. So it's like when you have that love and it wasn't able to be manifested in the way that you fully wanted, you have to pivot. But I've always loved talking about sports. I always knew that whether I go pro or not, I want to have a career talking about sports, just like all of us do. So we got to just keep supporting one another, keep encouraging each other, and keep holding each other accountable so that, when those opportunities become available, when the platforms are growing and getting bigger, we're the ones that are able to maximize that and take it to the furthest level.
Exactly. Well said. Well, that couldn't be a better outro to the podcast, ladies and gentlemen. I got going with the smooth talker. But yes, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it here for a great two-parter mock draft ahead of the 2025 NBA draft for my guy Dylan. Make sure you guys leave a like, subscribe, check out his stuff, subscribe, support is free, and share anybody you know who loves sports. I'm your host, DJ Hamilton, and we'll see you next time. Peace.
Yeah.